Hello and welcome. Let me know if you can hear me. Use the comment box. Today, I want to do a quick talk about the state of the campus, and after that, we're gonna go over the market. When we're done with this live stream, we're actually going to have a launch party. So basically, that's just the voice chat function of Discord. We're all going to talk about how we can improve the campus, what you think about it currently, how we could make it better, and then we can discuss the market for a bit. So, as you might have noticed, some contributors who were in the campus have been removed from their contributor position. And basically, this has a lot to do with what we have been doing recently and where we want to go. If we truly want to become the number one learning space and trading group in the crypto industry, we need to make sure that we actually deliver quality. So we would like to keep our team small and our quality high. And I believe that this is the first step in achieving that. Furthermore, we have been working really, really hard, Corpse, me, everyone, on the margin engine. So, as some of you noted, and I think that's absolutely fair, we kind of let the campus on the left for a bit. But I'm pleased to announce that we're finished. The production is almost done. So we are going to spend 100% of our time on the campus again. And of course, the engine as well. But the campus is going to be like the priority as usual. Apart from that, we will soon change the channel structure for a bit. We're going to make some changes to make things easier, to make things clear. And, of course, after the live stream, I would like to hear your thoughts on that as well, because we do aim to provide, the best value that we possibly can. So that is that. If you have any questions, please save them for the voice chat that we're going to do in an hour. For now, let us check out the market and see what's happening. So again, I'm going to go over the big picture real briefly because, we've gone over this several times now, and I really do expect everyone to get the basic picture. If you don't, I strongly suggest that you check out the previous stream. We do an in-depth review of the long-term Bitcoin markets, Ethereum markets, etc., etc. So that means we're going to start off with the 1-hour chart. And on the 1-hour chart, I would like to focus on the section starting this month. What happened before is not really important as of today. So as you might have seen, I posted a trade 2 hours ago. And what happened is we broke support, and we broke it pretty violently. We got quite a dump here, but soon after that, the price just retraced into support. Now, this can happen sometimes. It's nothing to panic about. But that's why we keep the stop loss, because it is very important to understand that if you're a trader, no single trader on earth has a 100% winning record, and wrong trades are just part of the game. Every business has its expenses, as I like to say. And if you're a trader, you're basically a business, so you're going to have expenses, and your expenses are bad trades. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to dump here and break out again. We're going to have to keep a very, very good eye on this and just see where we're going. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you look at the 1-hourly chart and you get a little bit creative, which is what I like to do, I develop my own style, I get creative, is we have a support at, let's say, currently 64.30, and it has been violated. This is not a perfect support, as I would like to say, but I do believe it is very valuable at this moment. Now, what I'm aiming for is one of two things. The first being that we actually do break the support that I've drawn out here, and we actually head towards the longer term support, currently sitting at 64.30. This would be, ideally, because this is a very clear trade to me. Even though it might not look like that, it's clear as day that if we break the support again, we could move to the next support pretty fast. Now, if this happens, obviously we're going to close our trade there, and that is that. We have made some profit. Now, if this doesn't happen and we stay above the support, we're going to have to look for a target on the upside. Yeah, the target on the upside is a little bit less clear. Let me just draw something out. For this, we're going to have to go to the 4-hourly chart. And we're going to make sure this is picture perfect. There we go. Yeah, that's it. Now, the trade to the upside is a little bit more complicated and it's a little bit more abstract. There is no real resistance that we can use to base our trade off, and there's also no pattern at this moment. So what we're going to do, we're going to check the RSI, see if something is visible there. Now, as you can see, not necessarily any patterns, not necessarily any resistance, apart from this one. It's very important to know that your support and your resistance also exist outside of the chart on, for example, the RSI or the MACD or whatever. Now, we need 3 contact points for a valid resistance or support. And what do you know? That's 1, 2, 3. So I would say this is valid. Thing is, this is not on the chart. There is no way to draw like a valid support resistance. So what I would say is, if we break this resistance on the RSI, in that case, I'm going to enter a long and basically aim for the resistance that we have been forming ever since February. This resistance was broken only once, and it was broken in July. Really, the bulls fought hard to stay above resistance. They even regained control for one time, but soon after that, the bears proved too strong, and we got this massive move down. And, rejection after that, before that rejection. So it's only going to be the question, are we going to be able to break this resistance? I don't know. If we do, there's going to be a great trade. But what I would say is, if we do prove to be, bullish, if we do prove to break this resistance on the RSI, then I would just set my target a little bit below resistance. Are there any questions on this? If there are, make sure to put them in the comment box on YouTube. So in short, if we break support here, target's going to be 64.50. Let's keep things simple. If we do break the resistance on the RSI, target's going to be 68.50. And that is Bitcoin for now. Obviously, if we do break this larger resistance that I have drawn out here, it's going to be a different story. In that case, we might head back all the way to 6K, which is, a really strong level. But then again, 6K have been tested many times. If you look at the daily, ever since February, we have been attacking this level again and again and again. And each time it proved strong. But the more times this got, tested, I suppose the weaker it gets. So be careful out there. If we do break either resistance or support, which soon is going to happen, we're going to make one hell of a trade. And I think it will be a very profitable one if we get on the right side of things. So that's also part of the reason why I haven't posted too many trades lately. I'm actually waiting for this triangle to complete. This triangle is the key to a trade with massive potential. So onto Ethereum. As I've said in my previous live stream, Ethereum, hold on, let's just pair this against Bitcoin for starters. Ethereum is currently in my buying zone. My buying zone ranges from 0.024 Bitcoin all the way up till 0.033 Bitcoin. For the long term, this is definitely the place to buy, for the reason that this is, as far as I'm concerned, the final support. If we do break this support, I'm going to be out and, potentially wait for Ethereum to reach 0.007 or 730,000 Satoshis. Given the fact that there has been very little trading going on in this range, and it's not really a range that I see as support. As long as we stay above it, gonna stay in my Ethereum long-term position, and I'm not even gonna look at it. Now, for the shorter term, and also for the USD value, let's go over that first. USD value is a little bit of a different story. I would say support ranges from, and this is a very wide range, keep that in mind, I know that, but then again, we are talking about a long-term hold. Support ranges from $137 to $210. Anything below that would be a disaster, and Ethereum could potentially drop to 60 USD. Now, for the short term, let us go to the hourly. I'm just going to remove my long-term stuff here. For the shorter term, I think for now it mostly is going to depend on Bitcoin. As you can see, Ethereum is forming a similar support. There we go. And it might seem that this is not a test. I always say 3 tests. But if we go to the hourly, you can see that this definitely was a test. We broke below it. The price tried to, regain control. The bulls really tried. The bulls failed. Price went as low as 171. Bulls regained control, pushed the price above it, and then the bears had one more try, but they failed. After that, we had another test at 18 September, and then again at September 25. So it's very important if you're looking at the chart, and keep this in your mind, even though it might look like this is not relevant at all, if you go to the shorter time frames, you can see that it's actually very, very relevant. So make sure that when you're charting, just take your time, don't assume things, and really go in depth on your trading position. Well, I can put on the night mode. Is it too bright, guys? Let me know. If it's too bright, I'll most certainly change that. Now, for Ethereum, it's going to be a very simple setup. Just check this out. I think this makes sense to everybody. This is what I would currently be looking at. This wouldn't be pretty if this plays out, but for the sake of being correct, we're just going to grab the volume and put that in, because it is important to check, if you're checking out a head and shoulders, the volume on the head and shoulders. The volume on the right shoulder should always be lowest. So what you can see here, we have our left shoulder. We can see that the volume is pretty high. I'm just going to take the average volume here. Then we have our head. You can see the volume was higher. Then we have our right shoulder, and the volume here is like pretty much non-existent. So that makes this a valid head and shoulders. If we do break this, as I said before, I'm not sure if it's actually going to be very pretty, and we're going to have to decide a target. Now, there is no data. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go back in time and use the data of 2017. Now, what I personally believe is that if this head and shoulders does play out, we're gonna be looking at $136 Ethereum. Of course, at this point in time, it's hypothetical. Don't know if it's gonna happen, but that's what I'm gonna bet for if we do finish this head and shoulders, and that's where what my target will be, close and about. If this does turn out not to be a head and shoulders, then we're gonna have to decide on a target to the upside. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is super simple. I can already tell you, I don't even have to do it. If I put on my volume profile, the point of control is going to be here. Okay, actually it's here, but it was very close. Point of control is very simply said the point in the price chart where most of the coins have exchanged hands, where most of the volume has taken place. And it makes a lot of sense because in this range there has been a lot of trading. So let me just remove it. If we do break up, if we do break this head here, my target would be very close to the point of control, which would make this a worthless trade. Very, I'm just going to be honest about that. If we do enter here, let's take our long tool. If we do enter here, this would not be a very nice trade because my stop loss, would basically be below the right shoulder here, just below it, giving this a risk reward ratio of 1.5 and, basically making it not really worth it. So as far as I'm concerned, if we do break the neckline, as it's called, just for your consideration. Oh, hold on. If you have a head and shoulders, this is the head and shoulders. This is called the neckline. If you break the neck, you die. If the neck is broken, usually the price dies as well, and it just takes a big dump. That's what I'm gonna hope to see here. If it doesn't play out, no problem. There's plenty of other stuff to trade. Robert asks if Bitcoin and Ethereum break up, which has more immediate potential. In December, Bitcoin went up and everything else was blown down. As far as I can tell, and this is based on my personal experience, this is not based on any book or whatsoever, but what I have found is that at the end of a bear market, alts start to go up. That sparks interest, so people want to buy Bitcoin to get into alts, make some money. And then during this whole period, basically alts and Bitcoin, they rallied together. They did very well. Everybody got rich. But at the end, let's say the final 2 months, 3 months, alts took a major dump. And I think this was, mostly due to exhaustion. And when people get too greedy, Bitcoin was going up so fast, everybody wanted to get out of their alts and just dump it. So what I assume, if Bitcoin actually starts pumping now, I think alts can very well tag along. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. Because you have to consider most alts are down 90% or more, which is, which is a lot, obviously. And some alts will die. We've seen it before. Nobody knows this, but alts actually can die, and they do die. And, alts that have a lot of potential will survive and they will grow again. That's just the cycles. That's how it goes. It's like breathing. You breathe in, you breathe out. So basically, that's my case for Ethereum, even though I'm having the Bitcoin chart in front of me. I think it's a very strong case and that it has a lot of potential. But as long as it doesn't play out, it doesn't play out. So wait for confirmation. That's something very valuable. Always wait for confirmation. Never just assume things, never just trade based on your feelings. Confirmation, confirmation, confirmation. That's all that matters. Do we have any questions about Ethereum? Let's see. Okay, I'm going to assume we don't have questions about Ethereum. Just want to move over to EOS because EOS looks pretty good at this moment. Gonna come into why in just a second. I've been saying that for EOS, and I'm just going to pair it against USD. My buying range, basically sits between $4 and $5. That's where, most of the trend reversals have happened. Bulls often took control in this range, and just, fought back the bears really, really well. Also, I would say that below this range, there hasn't really been a lot of trading up until $1.20. I think that $1.20 definitely has a chance to hold if this zone breaks, but I'm strongly assuming that this zone doesn't break. Now, if we take our chart here and we take our trend line, let us draw this out. You can see that it has broken the downtrend, and it did so, and many alts actually did so. Think of Ripple. Ripple really, really took off violently. There's more, but let's say that most alts have broken their downtrend in general. There hasn't really been any sort of major bullish move made by EOS. So I'm going to assume, and this is just an assumption, that it can still happen. And let me just draw this out. Not entirely confident about the accuracy of this. But then again, we do have 1, 2, 3 tests. So I would say that we could assume this is support, right, for now. Now then we have our resistance. Obviously, there's the resistance that I've just drawn out, but there's one more, and that's this one. 1 test, 2 tests, 3, 4. 4 tests, so definitely valid. Now, this is the triangle that I'm currently looking at for EOS. As long as it trades within this range, I'm definitely not touching it. Also due to the fact that, there's not really a reason why I would do so. But when we leave this triangle, I think we can leave it at a very good speed because EOS, for some reason, always defied the bears. You must understand that most of the market is down close to 90 to 95%. And one more thing to understand, one can say, but EOS is only down 80. There's a huge difference between 95% and 80%. See that? It's only 15%, but there's a massive, massive difference. So I would say that EOS has been holding up pretty well. It qualifies for the 80% rule. When something's in a bubble state, it has to drop 80%, which it has done. Only barely, but it has done so. And I think EOS can put up a great fight against Ethereum. So people ask me, like, let's see who is asking that question. Mr. Know-It-All. What is the probability of a move? Doesn't matter. Seriously, it doesn't matter if we have a 90% chance to go up or a 90% down chance. It doesn't matter at all. What matters is the breakout and the breakout rule. And I violated my own rule today. I always say when there's a breakout, now let's say the price does this, I don't buy. I actually buy on the retrace, because this 9 out of 10 times is how the price action goes. It breaks out, it retraces back to the broken resistance, and it goes up. And the reason why I always follow this rule, and I didn't do so today, and immediately I got punished for it, is because, there are fake outs. And we're going to take the Bitcoin trade I did as an example. We broke out, we retraced here as the price should, and then there was an obvious fake out. We got back into the range and the trade got closed. Now, what most people try to do, and for this I'm going to the 5-minute chart, they wait. And I didn't really draw this accurately. Excuse me, I'm just going to redo it. That's better. Is as follows. If the price breaks out, this is going to happen within a couple seconds. This whole move here is going to happen in a couple of seconds. Now, what people try to do, they're behind their screen and the price is going down, and they're just ramming the button like short sell. Now, what you get in your screen is a very nice notification called BitMEX overload, and you just keep clicking, and you can't make the trade until probably the price is somewhere around here. That's when the exchange is no longer overloaded. You're going to take the trade here, and then it's going to move up, and this is going to take a huge portion of your RNR, right? Of your PNE, I should say. If you wait for the retrace, first of all, there's not going to be an overload. You can calmly enter the trade here. But also, if the trade turns against you and you've entered the trade, let's say here, you can just put your stop loss there, and this will take, save you a huge amount of money in comparison to making a trade like this, right? So that's my rule, and today I just disregarded that rule and I got punished for it. Yeah, that's right. After collision FUD, there was no drop in EOS. So and that's why I like it so much. It's really, really strong. And that's why I just wanted to go over it. There's no targets for EOS yet. There's no setup yet, but I just wanted to share my thoughts. Other than that, I think that pretty much covers it for the market. Reason being, normally I do a lot of requests in my live stream and I go over a lot of coins. I'm also going to do that today, but I'm going to do that in the Discord voice channel. So if you are all willing to join in 25 minutes, we're going to start there. We can have a good time, just hang out for a bit, talk about trading, do some charting. And we will actually start doing this every week. And, it's going to be great. Magic PLNL asks if there's another way to pay for the campus apart from credit cards. Yeah, of course. If you go to cryptocampus.io/renew, I believe it was, then here you have the option to pay with cryptocurrency. And you don't have to be a member yet. You can just pay with Bitcoins. But, that's the only way to do it. And the reason is we're like a real business. We have employees, everything. So sometimes it can be a little bit difficult for us to process these Bitcoin payments, but you're more than welcome to do it that way. That's no problem at all. Happy you asked. Okay, speaking of the crypto campus, currently we are close to finishing the margin engine, pre-recorded stuff, etc. You know, the whole product really took a lot of time to build, as you might have noticed. And we're gonna, add content to the campus again. And that's something I would also like to discuss during the launch party. Is what are you guys currently needing? What are you looking for at this moment? Is there anything missing, or would you like some extra info on a certain subject? So make sure to think about that, because we're going to talk about that as well. So thank you for tuning in. I'm just going to finish my dinner, and then we're going to have a great talk. So have a great day, guys, and I will do another live stream in 2 days.